27-year-old mother is set to appear before the Magistrate's court on Monday, facing charges of concealment of birth. This following the disturbing discovery of a newborn baby's body in a deep freezer. The baby, wrapped in a tracksuit top and placed inside a plastic bag, was found frozen when police arrived. The mother was not at the scene at the time but turned herself into authorities the following day. We do have CEO of Save Our Children South Africa, Gugu Xaba. Gugu, so I was just trying to get your sentiments as well as reaction to this latest gruesome incident.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alicia, for the question. As Save the Children, we are saying, and this is a conversation we've been having with South Africans all along. One, we need individuals in South Africa who are ready to take responsibility and account for its children. In this case, we're dealing with a 27-year-old who should know by now about family planning, who should know by now the need to communicate if there is a serious problem that they personally have, so that we can be able to provide support. So it means immediate families need to pay attention to its own. This includes communities that have a responsibility to ensure that we reduce crimes that are against children, or we reduce psychosocial problems that may be existing in our communities. And again, this means that is why we've got clinics, we've got social development, we've got other structures within our communities in order to communicate a need and make sure that we don't get to a point whereby a pregnancy is concealed or a child is killed because of the problem maybe that a mother could be having. And that means if you are planning to be a parent, let's plan properly and be ready. If you don't want to be a parent, let's use the resources that we have in order to ensure that people do what they would like to do. And that is what Save the Children is doing.
And Gugu, does the state, do you think, provide enough such resources too? I mean, I want us to further expand the scope to social services as well, in cases where you see even women with children begging in heat at robots. Reports indicate that some of these kids are either hired or even stolen and used by the syndicate. But this would not, of course, continue unabated, irregardless of whether those women are illegal foreigners or not. Our police simply drive past without any inquiries. Surely more still needs to be done, and this is quite unacceptable.
Definitely. And that is why, as Save the Children, we are saying it's about time we don't turn our faces from those children that are sitting in the robots as a community. Because if all of us wouldn't turn our eyes away from that side, we would make a difference. Which means if it's a community of Bloemfontein, Mangaung, we are not turning our eyes away from those people that are begging in the side. And we are pushing and demanding social services, the police, help to attend to this particular woman. You will start seeing the difference. Right now, as a country, as a society, we turn our eyes away. And then this continues. If it's a crime, let's get the police to attend to it so that it cannot happen again. And if we can start dealing with one case and making sure that if there's someone that must be in jail, they must be there, or if there's someone that must go back to where they belong, because you remember that in our communities, we do have feeding schemes. We do have food that goes to certain communities. So if a person goes out of their community and begs in the street, it means we need to fix the system in our communities so that we can be able to deal with, maybe local government can also do its part, and eventually everybody is attending to the problem.
And speaking of family planning and communities, Gugu, I mean, do you think our society actually allows for women in such positions to really be able to be honest and therefore take the necessary action in order to avoid a similar scenario where the mother then has to resort to concealing the birth of their child and going as far as killing them?
I would safely say, as Save the Children, we believe our society is allowing. And I would say that with confidence because government has availed family planning free in our facilities. We have had many conversations about attitudes of professionals when people are asking for family planning, which means we are dealing with that particular problem. Now, question is, do communities go? Right now, we've got about 60% and less women that are using family planning. So the problem is coming from the 40% that is not using family planning. Now, the question is, what is the problem? Because we see the need for family planning, but we're not seeing people asking for those services. Who could be stopping them? Let's have the conversation so that we know where is the problem and be able to deal with the actual problem. Because right now, at 27-year-old, you have every right to walk in a clinic and ask for a service and be given that particular service. And now, let's say the pregnancy has occurred. Who is informed so that they can support you through the pregnancy?
And what are the chances, Gugu, that such behavior is actually more prevalent, especially with reports of the high teenage pregnancy cases? It's just that they are not all reported or actually get high media attention as with this particular case. But how do we even start to begin to fix this?
Okay. Yes, there are cases that are not reported, and as Save the Children, we are saying communities do have the power and they do have the ability to turn the situation around. And why we are saying that is because in the community, you've got local government that has special programs, and the special programs are for educating communities on what to do when there's a likely teenage pregnancy. That is why there's education on comprehensive sexuality education. When the pregnancy has occurred, again, the community is empowered to say, you've got access to a facility, you've got access to, if there's a serious problem, to a social grant that will support the child as they're growing. You've got an ability to keep the mother in school if the mother is in school. You've got the ability to go to court if the person who impregnated the young girl is an elderly person, so that we can correct the behavior of the person who impregnated the girl whilst we care for the child. So the services are available. What we need is community members to use the services, and where they are not there, they must demand for the services so that we can come with government and see what services are missing. For now, honestly, we do have services at an almost 80%. Now, question is, are they being used by community members? Besides that, who else then did we talk to in order to ensure that we support this girl if it's a teenager, to support the girl, to keep the pregnancy, and to make sure that the child is born and they are safe and they are taken care of? If not by themselves or their extended family, then we can push for adoption depending on what is needed there.
Gugu, thank you so much for your input this afternoon. That is Gugu Xaba, the CEO of Save Our Children South Africa.